In this video, we're going to be reviewing the 2025 Honda CB300R. This is not a CB300R. This is my 1971 CB500. And while I've owned many Hondas throughout my life, none of them have been from the 21st century. So I'm excited to get out and ride the CB300R, but I can't do it here in Roanoke because I don't have a dealership near me, and a lot of them don't even offer demo rides. But it just so happens that I'm going to be going to Traverse City, Michigan with my family. And while I'm up there, they're going to be doing wine country and yoga, none of the things that I do. And so I'm stealing away for one day to ride that CB300R around the peninsulas and the beautiful bays of northern Michigan. So hang in there. We're going to have to take a little trip to get where we're going. Alright, so here it is, the CB300R. This is a sweet little bike. It's about 276 cc's, makes about 27 horsepower, and it's fun. It's got ABS on it, radio mounted brakes, which is kind of surprising. You would not expect radio mounted on entry level 300 bike. But this bike is it's just a single cylinder, but it's a fun bike. It has an LCD screen here, as you can see, about 55.5 miles per gallon right now that I'm averaging, and 2.6 gallon tank, so 110 plus 0.6, so you're looking at maybe 140 to 150 miles to a tank. Inverted front forks, pretty standard setup. It doesn't look like there's any adjustability in that suspension, which is something you'd expect out of an entry-level bike. The person I'm renting it from has these frame sliders mounted to it, which is nice, so that if you drop it, you're not gonna break this bike too easily. You might scuff up your bar ends or break a lever, but those are easy things to replace. Much different than like a fully faired bike. But yeah, neo-classic kind of naked cafe racer from Honda. I absolutely think this would be an awesome entry-level bike for anybody, and for someone like me who's owned a lot of bigger bikes, I still think that this would be a great bike to have in the garage. After you've ridden big bikes for a while, you kind of realize that you don't need a whole lot of power to have fun. If I had this in my garage over a lot of my other bigger bikes, I would probably just grab this 90% of the time if I was running to the grocery store or going to meet some friends for dinner or something like that. Now, I did rent this bike on Twisted Road. Twisted Road, if you don't know, is an online motorcycle rental platform, and it is people renting their motorcycles for other people to come in and use. So you're not renting from like an Enterprise Rent-A-Car or anything like that. What you're doing is people own motorcycles. Maybe they want to make a little extra money to supplement maintenance, or they want to take some load off the payments, or maybe just make some side money. So they put their own bikes up on the website, and they give you a chance to rent it. Now, as someone who rents on the website, you do have to have a valid motorcycle endorsement on your license. You can't just rent these bikes without that. It is a requirement, and the website does require you add a little profile in there, says what your experience is, and that way the person who's renting you the bike kind of knows, like, okay, am I renting this person a 1000cc Honda Fireblade and they've only ever ridden a Ninja 500? How do I feel about that? Do I want to allow them to rent my motorcycle? They can say no if they're concerned about something like that. I've never run into this but my profile is very specific. It says I've been riding for over 18 years, and it has a list of motorcycles that I've ridden, a lot of them 1000cc plus motorcycles. So for Jason, the guy that rented this to me here in Traverse City, I think he saw that and probably assumed, you know, rightly or wrongly, this guy's going to be fine. I'm going to rent him my motorcycle. So keep that in mind. If you're going to use the website, I highly recommend it. How else could I come up here and last minute ride a motorcycle around in Traverse City? If I was to take my own motorcycle, it would have been a 12-hour ride just to get here to enjoy these roads. But I flew in with my wife. She's off with some friends right now enjoying the wine country and yoga and everything they have to offer. So I told them I'm going to take the day and ride a motorcycle. And I will say, if you come to Traverse City, this is the only motorcycle for rent in the entire area. Jason told me he's trying to expand that and offer more motorcycles for more people, different displacements and different types, so that you can kind of get into whatever you want to. But if you're coming up to Traverse City, you better hope you're the only person trying to rent, because this is the only bike available. There's also some adventure scooters, but I wasn't really into the idea of doing that. I didn't want to step through. I wanted a real leg over motorcycle. Man, just look at how cool that looks from the front. So cool. But let's go ahead and hit the road, and we'll talk a little bit more later about some things I do and don't like. And you guys can let me know, like, is this something that you would do? Would you come to Traverse City or anywhere else around the country or the world and rent a motorcycle from a stranger just to see what there is in the area? And we're gonna find out if a CB300 is enough bike to go adventuring and touring and seeing what a place has to offer. Is it too much bike? Is it just enough? It could be the perfect bike to get out and around these roads. We're gonna have to find out. It's got some nice turn in. Feeling pretty good. I'm actually kind of surprised that the roads around here are so twisty, because growing up, coming up to Michigan, you know, I was used to more of the grid system, but I guess there's just enough terrain and lakes and things like that in the Traverse City area that it kind of forces them to go out and around a lot of things, a little more debris. I will say this thing is geared kind of low, which, you know, it's a 300, of course it is. It needs to have some torque in the city to get off the line, but when you're in sixth at about 50 miles an hour, you're just like, oh yeah, let me grab another one, and it is just not there. It is absolutely not there. Alright, it gets up and goes pretty good. Oh man. This is amazing. It's so different from where I'm from. You know, it's just... Oh, I'm going way too slow. 55, okay. I will say, 55, the bike hits its rev limiter at 10.5, and we're doing about 5,700 RPMs at 52. You don't really feel like you want to rev it out much more than that. I mean, here, we'll get it up to 55. 55 miles an hour at 6,000. It's kind of buzzy. What are you going to expect out of a, you know, small 300cc bike? Wow. But, yeah, it definitely, it has plenty of power in town. And I would say, if you were looking to get a CB300, just change the final drive gearing a little bit. Maybe go up a tooth on the sprocket for the countershaft sprocket, and maybe down 2 or 3 teeth in the back. Bring the RPMs down for some 55 plus mile an hour cruising, and this bike would sit about perfect because it has so much torque for being a little bike. It has so much torque around town. You're not going to be in the way of other cars trying to get off the line. You can absolutely ride this bike around town, slow speeds with higher gearing, and it's not going to dog this bike down. It's going to be fine. So if you're looking to get a CB300, definitely consider making that your first change, because I think you're going to be happier with it. Being that it's a beginner's bike, you know, you're not going to be wanting for power as you're getting used to riding. And then when you're done with it, don't sell the bike. Just keep this thing for run around town. I bet you if you ride for a long time and you get used to this bike, and then you're ready to jump up to something bigger like a 650 or, you know, maybe like an 800 standard motorcycle, whatever you're into. When you've got to go to the grocery store or, you know, just go tool around town, go get something to eat, I bet you 90% of the time you're going to reach for this bike because it's just so nimble and fun and small and zippy, and it's got this I think I can attitude, and you feel like you could just kind of do things on this that you wouldn't want to do on a bigger bike. Almost like you can get away with something on this thing. So anyway, we were going through, I think, wine country. Wine country up here is apparently pretty big. It's also like the cherry capital of the world or something. Maybe just the United States, I don't know. Although I am seeing a couple little gravel roads and stuff. Alright, well, it was not my intention to show you guys gravel, sand, dirt, whatever on some street tires, but and let's see. Well, I guess it's a little bit of gravel. Let's see what this is all about. We'll try not to drop Jason's beautiful CB300 on this packed down gravelly sand. Well, for a solidly packed road of sand and gravel on a set of street tires, yeah, it's good. So there you go. Can it adventure? Yes, it can. 5.2 inches of front travel, not bad. I think that's about the same as their kind of adventure bike 500. Oh, this is my turn. Backing it in. ABS preventing me from backing it in. This is that 500 is their adventure bike, and it's got similar travel, probably the similar suspension, if I had to guess. So yeah. Alright, just finished up at Mission Point Lighthouse, and I'm going to run down to the Mission General Store, and we're going to catch Bluff Road, whatever it is, and see what that's all about. Here's where we're not supposed to go. We're breaking the rules. always try not to be a butthead through here, but I think that was the section that was closed because of the washout right over here. You can kind of see the fence, maybe. I don't know. But I'm sure I'm throwing some people off. Oh, here we go. Here, now we're stepping through. We'll see if I get any flack for it. Nope. Nobody cares. Jason was right. And out the other side we go. Nice little gap in the fence. No chains to knock me out. I don't know if I've said this before, but wow. This place is beautiful. And I'm doing 38 miles an hour. I mean, we are not flying through here. Why would you? Look at this. It's gorgeous. Sailboats anchored out on the bay, kayakers. I love it here for many reasons, but this has just given me one more reason to love this part of Michigan. And as a native Ohioan, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to love Michigan. Everything about it's supposed to make me want to vomit. But I gotta say, give Michigan credit, because there's nowhere in Ohio that looks like this. So, you know, all I'm saying to you Ohioans is, you know, maybe don't tell anybody about it, but sneak away. You know, it can be your little secret. Nobody has to know. I think we're pulling into Suttons Bay, and we're gonna try to find a place to eat. Oh, this is quaint. I expect no less from this part of Michigan. Got a fudge place. See him driving by too fast. Asian cuisine. Uh-oh. Are we getting out of town? Alright, so change of plans. None of the restaurants were really open. So we are going to keep it moving, and we're going to head towards Leland, which is 9 miles away, and check it out. It's supposed to be like Disney movie awesome as far as the little town, so let's go check that out. Alright, we're scooching along this lake right here. I don't know what it's called. So just like a little inland lake, and then we're on this little I don't know, causeway kind of thing between Lake Michigan and this lake here, rolling into Leland. Yeah, so far so good. I would say that the seat on this thing is kind of, I don't know if it lacks padding or if it's just too stiff, but you ride for anything more than about 50 miles and you start to, it starts to get a little sore. But like with anything, you do it long enough and you'll get used to it. Okay, here we are in beautiful Leland. Okay, so the place to go is turn left. Use the pedestrians as a smoke screen to get through. Wow, look at that big old tree. That's crazy. Best part about motorcycles is you can pretty much just fit them in wherever you feel like, and most people are going to be okay with it. So we're going to pop it in right here. So that's Leland. Pretty cool little spot. Places to eat were absolutely packed. I still haven't eaten anything, so we are gonna continue on and try to find something maybe in Glen Arbor. Started off the day kind of cool, but walking around wearing a black jacket, I'm getting warm kind of quick. We're gonna head south towards Glen Arbor. Oh, the food smells so good. I wish I could have eaten there, but I was way too impatient. We're heading out of town and see what the west side of Michigan has to offer. Right along Lake Michigan out to, we're gonna be close to Sleeping Bear Dunes. I'm not gonna go hiking down those today because one, I don't have the right shoes for that, and two, we're gonna be there tomorrow as a group. So I'm gonna save that for when I'm hanging out with my friends and my wife, and we're just gonna ride some roads. Don't have much time left on this rental actually, so we're gonna be cruising kind of quick through all this and then head back to drop this bike off to Jason and call it a trip. I just got done eating at the Good Harbor Grill. We're going to head on back to Traverse City. Got about a 47-minute ride back to Traverse City. Get some gas and do a little final review. First things first that I will say about this bike is this is an excellent bike for anybody, especially a beginner. A little bit too low in the gearing, but I honestly can't complain about that for what I've been doing today. It's been 45, 50 miles an hour almost everywhere I've gone, and so perfect around town and a little bit of highway riding. This bike only has 1,100 miles on it, and it has been, you know, flawless. Obviously you'd expect that out of a brand new bike, but especially out of a Honda. And so we're gonna keep rolling. We got, like I said, 45 minutes ish left, and we'll close this out, let you guys know what my final takes are, and I'm gonna pose a few questions to you guys. Oh buddy, I was getting a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I was running on fumes, and my batteries for my GoPro are also running on fumes. So we are gonna top up here and then finish our ride into Traverse. Whew, I was getting nervous. I was getting light on the throttle. This thing barely sips gas, but doesn't mean I wasn't nervous, because I am not used to this bike. I don't know what kind of range it gets. So, alright, we're gonna fuel up and I'll talk to you soon. And we have arrived. That concludes the ride up here in Traverse City. Again, this is a CB300R, and I rented it through a guy named Jason. I think it's called TC. I'll put it up here on the screen, but it's like TC rentals or something like that. He specializes in off-road rentals and motorcycle rentals. You can also get those scooters like I talked about, but I really like this bike. Would I buy one? No, I would not. There's too many bikes out there for me to own. This one is really, really great, but it's just, you know, for the amount of bikes that I want to own one day, this one's not going to make the list. It is an amazing bike, and I would recommend anybody who's considering getting a bike as a beginner bike, this would be perfect. I have a list of at least 10 to 15 bikes that I want to own one day, and unfortunately this one's just not gonna probably make it into that list, but I would definitely rent it again. It did everything I wanted it to do. It was plenty of power, lots of fun, kind of makes you want to do hooligan stuff, to be honest, and I probably probably shouldn't, but I cannot tell you how many people actually stopped and looked at this bike and we're just kind of taking it in, which, you know, you would think that a CB300 would not necessarily turn some heads, but if you look at the lines, it's a pretty cool looking bike. I like the little bikini fairing it has up front. Actually, it provides quite a bit of wind protection. But, you know, a lot of people that are looking at these bikes, they don't know what it is. They don't know it's only a 300cc single cylinder. They think, wow, that looks really cool. I bet it's fast. So it's going to be a head turner. I mean, the front profile looks pretty good. I even got a bunch of the brothers on the Harleys waving at me, so I feel like I got some respect there on the Honda Davison. But anyway, let me know what you think. Did you enjoy this trip? Would you come up here to Traverse City and ride one of these bikes? Would you go to Twisted Road and ride one of these bikes somewhere else around the country? There's anything you can imagine on the website. I gotta say, this is my third time running with them, and it's awesome. You will probably have a few questions about Twisted Road. All I can say is it's better to go to the website and check it out than to try to get that information from me. I'm not paid by them or sponsored by them. I just use them. But I can tell you, for someone who has a lot of bikes they want to own, being able to go out and rent a bike and just try it before I even buy it, or, you know, just experience something different than what's in my own garage, it's amazing. So that being said, drop down in the comments, would you guys buy this bike? Would you rent this bike? And if there's things that I didn't cover about it or that I got wrong, please let me know and maybe we can talk about that. But yeah, that's it for now, and I'll catch you in the next one.